Hello, everybody, and as I'm recording this, it is Monday, Memorial Day, and to celebrate Memorial Day, what I'm going to be doing is reading the entire Declaration of Independence, established in Congress July 4th, 1776. Then I'm going to be reading all the amendments to know that everybody, this is how it started. This is how it started. And just to celebrate Memorial Day this way, I'm going to be doing it. So, how about we start? Unanimous Declaration of the 13th United States of America. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth to separate an equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are institutioned among men, driving their just deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And according all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, persuading invalidly the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute, I'm not even going to pronounce that. It is their right, it is their duty, to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future safety. Such has been the patient suffrage of these colonies, and, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their serv- their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governments to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained. And when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has, he has refused to pass other laws for the accommodations of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish their right of representations in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at public unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records, for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly, for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time, for after such diffusions, to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for their exercise, the state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers and invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states, and for that purpose obstructing the laws for neutralization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of land. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount of payment of their salaries. He has erected a multitude of new offices, and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us, in times of peace, standing armies without the consent of our legislators. He has affected to render the military independent and superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution, and is acknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by a mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas and tried for pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in neighboring province, established therein an arbitrary government, and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing most of our valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments, for suspending our own legislators, and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravished our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, dis- desolation, and tyranny, already begun within circumstances of cruelty and petrify scaring, paralleled in the most barbarous ages, and totally untrustworthy the head of a civilized nation. He has constricted our fellow citizens taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has he has excited domestic insurrections amongst us. He has endeavored to bring on the habitations of our foreign frontiers the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. In every stage of those oppressions we have petitioned for redress, and in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered by only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. Nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time of attempts by their legislator to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of their circumstances, of our immigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice no, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice, and again no. You must therefore acquaintance in the necessity which denounce our separation, and hold them, as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends. Therefore, the representatives of the United States of America and General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge for the world of our rectitude of our initiations, do in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies solemnly publish and declare that these United Colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, for they have absolved from the allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state in the state of Great Britain is ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract allies, establish commonwealths, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do, and for the support of this declaration, with firm reliance on the protective and divine providence, we must surely pledge to each of our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Well, that was the Declaration of Independence. Now we move on to the amendments. The amendments, oh boy. There is, I believe, there's a lot of them. I don't know exactly all of them, but we've all had to learn these in middle school. Amendment 1. Congress shall make no laws respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free excuse thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Amendment 2. A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Amendment 3. No soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house, without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Amendment 4. The right of the people to be secured by their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable causes, supported by an oath or affirmation, particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Amendment 5. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime, unless a presentment or indicant of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when an actual service in time of war or public danger, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Amendment 6. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistant counsel of defense. Amendment 7. In suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and in fact no fact tried by jury shall be otherwise re-examined by any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. Amendment 8. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruelty and unusual punishments inflicted. Amendment 9. The instrument of the United States, instrument of the Constitution, of certain right, shall not be constructed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Amendment 10, I think. No, yeah, 10. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited to the states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. This next one was superseded. It's not in effect anymore. I don't believe it is, so we're going to skip it. So we're just 2. This is the second one. Okay. Section 1. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for crime, whether of the parties shall have been doubly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Section 2. Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislator. This next one has 5 sections. Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States are subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States and of the states wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive of any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any person to its jurisdiction of equal protection of the laws. This next one has 2 sections. Section 1. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous conditions of servitude. Section 2. Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Next amendment. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes on incomes from whatever source derived without appropriation among the several states and without regard to any census or immunization. Next one. The Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state, elected by the people thereof for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. The electors such in each state shall have the qualifications for the electors of most numerous branch of the state legislatures. When happen in the representation of any state in the Senate, the executive authority of such state shall issue rights of election to fill such vacancies, provided that the legislature of any state may empower the executive thereof to make temporary appointments until the people fill the vacancies by election, as the legislature may direct. We're going to skip that one. Skip that one because that one's not in effect. Okay, these ones have also been ratified. No law varying the compensation for the services of the senators and representatives shall take effect until an election of representatives shall have intervened. I know I skipped some amendments there, but one, this video is going way too long. A lot more than my videos usually are, but it's Memorial Day, hail to the chief, everything like that, and just stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you all later. I know I have not been entirely active for the past few months, but I've had a lot of stuff going on in my life, personally, and friends, and people like that. I've been in band mostly. We had a tour not too long ago with my friend, with fellow YouTuber Waffle King YT. Well, not Waffle King YT. It's the Waffle King now. He's been Waffle King YT for so long. And if you guys have not seen EWA Wrestling, which is where I'm from, this guy right here, if you may recognize his face, this is Blitzkrieg. And I will be rebranding my channel sometime in the near future, maybe after this video takes place. But yes, I will see you all in the next video. Hope you all have an amazing Memorial Day. Hope you all have an amazing week. I hope you all have an amazing year. I know some of us are getting out of school. I know some of us are already out of school. I'm not yet, unfortunately. This is my last week. But again, this video is almost 20 minutes. But I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.